All right, World Wide Web, another super amazing edition of Sports and Tacos coming at you. NFL football is right around the corner. So we got an amazing show tonight. We got ex-Chicago Bears star Doug Plank along with a whole bunch of other people. So we're going to run the intro real quick and we will dive into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen in TV land, YouTube, Sports and Tacos, Mondays, Thursdays, and Sunday Fun Day. Come join us, YouTube, Sports and Tacos.
I love it.
Sports
Awesome.
ball fans, another super amazing edition of Sports and Tacos coming at you. We don't have the usual motley crew like we normally have. Apparently, fantasy football drafts are more important than sports and tacos. So Tony and Bama are in the middle of a fantasy football draft that they just couldn't get out of. But I understand it's one of the drafts that they've been playing in for like 20 years. I think it's the Platt League. So Tony and Bama get a pass today. Spencer Cadigan, your host as usual. We got Alex Ginzel, G Unit. Finally joining us, finally changing his schedule after months of bugging him. One of kind of the originals, Mr. Joe Camparelli. Those who know him well call him Stallion. And ex-Chicago Bears star Doug Plank. Doug, thank you very much for coming on again. And Megan Johnson, Zaccaro. We blast you guys out every week, sports and shopping. And anyways, thanks for coming on. Football is right around the corner, Doug. It's like you blink your eye and summer's gone and training camp is going. And then you blink your eyes again and it's going to be, the first game is what, next Thursday, a week from Thursday?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Lions Chiefs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lions Chiefs next Thursday.
That's actually
aren't you doing the LA game?
Well, I am, but they don't play the Rams till week 2.
yeah. Well,
49ers, LA.
there's a lot to get to. Yeah, like I said, before you know it, just like that, it's football season again. And we're, I guess, right, this time of year, we always try and concentrate on the divisions. You get a lot of the predictions. Doug, Doug, before we dive into everything, how's Doug been? How was your summer, Doug?
You know what? It's fine. It's been good. I tell Megan all the time, really, I just turned 70. Man, that's old. When my dad was 70, he was forgetting things, going in the wrong direction. I hope I don't ever get to that point in time. But it's that plus you add 9 years of pro football on top of that, 4 years at Ohio State. Wow, I mean this body has gone through a lot of collisions, concussions, broken bones, all the titanium I have in my body, all 4 joints replaced. It was memorable. I guess let's say that. Everybody remembers their surgeries more than anything else in life, even their kids getting born and all that. No, it has no comparison to get your knee replaced or your shoulder replaced. And so I can say I made it through. And but no, I'm excited like you guys are to get to football. Our country is stuck in such mud. In terms of yelling and screaming at each other. It's great to have a sport come along where everybody can say, "Hey, let's join something. Let's go cheer some team on and make it a nice Sunday."
Yeah, exactly. Something to root for. How about you, Megan? How was your summer?
Mine summer was awesome. All three of my children are at college up in San Francisco, and they all moved into a house together. All of them. They're 18, 19, and 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 18, 19,
Wow.
and 20. So it's so fun to have them all together living up there, and I got them all situated. And so as a mom, it's like really nice at night to just go in and see their location, and they're all in the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was that was a huge success. I didn't really realize how much of my mental space it was taking until I got them all situated, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have so much time to like do stuff.
Yeah. That's
Right.
so funny.
Are they,
Yeah.
Megan? Are they all? Is it all boys?
One boy and two girls. My son is 20.
One boy and two girls.
Yeah, they're like besties though. They're really great friends. So my son and my two daughters, and one of my daughter's boyfriends. So there's four of them.
Nice.
Wow. That's,
That is so
That's-
fun.
Yeah, so it's totally
I
fun.
rem-
Up there just a couple of weeks ago to get everything finalized for him. And when I was driving home, because of course, I'm always bringing furniture and stuff. So when I was driving home, I was like, man, I totally love hanging out with my kids. I'm like, they're so cool. And then when they called me when I got home, they're like, man, we really, Mom. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good.
That's awesome. My
Wow.
mom and I have
Cool.
the same relationship. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was, but otherwise, everything's good. I can't complain. Thank God. Healthy and working on the Tyson movie still, getting that one done. Miracles with Megan is coming out in October and the TV show. And so just working along, and Doug and I are doing our podcast, Sports and Shopping. We love that.
Cool.
So
When
we're
you,
on here with you
you,
guys.
you,
Like,
you know, speaking of that, when is your guys' next episode, Megan?
so our next episode we're putting together here in the next couple of weeks when Doug's out here in LA.
Oh,
So
awesome,
roll.
awesome. Well, hey, you want to hear something interesting? Bentley. Can you hear us?
Hello,
I don't
everybody.
think he can hear us
Hi,
yet. Can you?
Billy.
Okay, awesome. We got Bentley. So I mean, like I was saying, Tony and Bama are in a fantasy football draft. So we have Bentley Fierro, we got Joe Camparelli. So we have vast football knowledge on Sports and Tacos today. But anyways, Megan, I worked the Pump Brothers event last week.
Oh, cool.
I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the Pump Brothers, but they're a big deal with like college basketball and basketball. It's a huge event every year at the Beverly Hilton for like 2 days. And it's just A-list pro athletes. And I was helping Pro Signatures Memorabilia, Ray Pinetto, he comes on the show, do their sports memorabilia auction for charity. And we're sitting there. It's crazy because we're unloading like 300 pieces of like super valuable sports memorabilia from this van into the big ballroom. And
Yeah.
this guy comes walking down Wilshire by himself, okay, all by himself, and stops and says hi to us as we're unloading the van, right? Guess who it was?
Who?
Somebody take a wild guess. It was
Mike
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
By himself. Mike Tyson by himself, just taking a stroll down Wilshire by himself, no bodyguards, no nothing, stopped and chatted with us for like 5 minutes. We all got to meet Mike Tyson as we're like unloading this like super valuable sports memorabilia out of this van into the Beverly Hilton Hotel. It was
So cool.
such a trip. And like shaking Mike Tyson's right hand, it was like shaking a stone or something. Like that. That right.
He's a super
That
nice
right
guy.
hand is done. Yes, that right hand has done some damage. But I just thought it was a trip. Iron Mike just taking a little stroll down Wilshire all by himself.
That's
I
so
love it.
cool.
Crazy.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
Anyways,
great.
guys. Yeah, so we got Doug. So Doug, football is right around the corner. Let's see. We had Greg Vaughn. I don't know if you remember Greg Vaughn. He's a ex-superstar baseball player. So basically, everybody we're having on right now, we're diving into divisions. as we get into the season, because everybody's got their opinions of what's going to be going on with this NFL season, and I want to get the same thing from you, Doug. And real quick, we have Goddess James. We have, just so everybody knows, now we got everybody on. We have a new super amazing referee on Sports and Tacos. We've had to hire on a referee because sometimes things get heated, especially during NFL season, and especially when Tony and Bama have had a few beers after work. So we have brought on Goddess James, who's an expert in basically keeping, guys under control who are getting crazy, I guess. So that's Goddess James. So if you hear the whistle blow because you're interrupting people, you will be going to the penalty box, just so you guys know. Now, this is more for Tony and Bama, but we now have a referee on Sports and Tacos, and she's awesome. So anyways, Doug, let's dive in. Let's dive into the NFC North, Doug, because I think it's one of the more interesting divisions in football this season. So you have the Lions, you got the Packers, you got the Bears, you got the Vikings. The Vikings won the division last year. I think they were pretty much one and done in the playoffs. First, let's dive into the Bears, Doug, because the Bears, to me, even though they had a tough year last year, to me, the Bears are an up-and-coming team. It looks like Justin Fields might be the real deal, and they have had so many draft picks. What are your thoughts on the Bears this year? Now, I personally don't see them winning that division, but you never know. What's your thoughts, Doug?
And you know what? Let me just say this. Having been a Chicago Bear, I'm not one of those guys. After you get into broadcasting, you become a lot more objective. I'm not drinking Kool-Aid for any team. That includes the Chicago Bears. I mean, yes, they've got some talent, but they didn't do as well as they anticipated through the preseason. Now, teams take a different look at preseasons. Some say, we want to win every game. Other ones say, I don't care. Like the Vikings of old, when Fran Tarkenton was there, those guys never won preseason games, but the moment the regular season started, look out. They were winning games. They were winning the division. I think this is one of the hardest divisions to call because none of these teams are spectacular. I mean, they all have some talented players, but there's no you never watched any one of these teams. You go, oh my gosh, these guys are going to the Super Bowl. No, I never got that.
Yeah, I do.
I never asked that question.
But it's just funny. I think it's funny when you do it. It's funny. It's natural.
Goddess James, you there?
Where's the whistle?
What happened?
We need the whistle, Goddess James. Okay, keep an eye on Bentley. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right, Doug. That's okay. Doug, you're absolutely right about the Bears. But the Bears and this, just to me, the Seahawks are two teams that maybe they're on people's radars, but they've had so many draft picks.
Yes.
And they have so much young talent that they might start off kind of slow. But as the season goes on, if Justin Fields is the real deal, you never know. They could sneak into a wild card position. What are your thoughts do you think the Bears might even make a wild card this year, or do you long term in the next 2-3 years? What are your thoughts on the Bears?
Yeah, I think they've got a lot. I really like their general manager. They got, I just think they got a great facility. The thing is, though, your whole organization, from the front office all the way down, has to have a burning desire to win. And when I think of teams that are just already geared, ready to go, I think of like the 49ers. I think they do everything above, almost everybody else. I know they lost last year. They didn't win anything. But, you got to be able to put yourself in a position to win. And they do that every game of the season.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, in that division, who do you think ends up winning that division? A lot of people are high on the Lions this year. You got Jordan Love, taking over for Aaron Rodgers. That's a total question mark. But I mean, he has looked good. So who do you? I don't know. I mean, if you were putting $1,000 on it in Vegas, who would you put? Who would you take to win that division this year?
Vikings.
Woo!
The Vikings again. Really? Yeah. I mean, gosh, you know. Yeah, you're probably right, Doug.
This is their division to lose. The Vikings is their division to lose.
Exactly. Listen, none of those teams are like, oh my gosh, they're so far ahead of everybody else. No, these guys are all in the same swimming pool. You know, who gets to the other side fastest? I don't know. It could be anybody. The Lions, I don't know. The Lions something has cursed the Lions over the last decades. I have no idea what it is. They never get the bounce of the ball. Every play goes against them. They never get calls as far as referees go. And there's been some great people that have gone there, coaches, players, you know, they all leave. When Barry Sanders says, enough is enough, no more Moss or whatever, you know that it's not a good situation. So, and I think they're,
right.
You know, a team tries, and I think they made efforts in skilled positions, but I don't expect much out of them.
Yeah.
Joe,
This is the Vikings
Stallion,
division
what
to
is your
lose this
thoughts?
year.
What's your thoughts on the
NFC North?
Stallion? What's NFC North?
NFC North? I like Chicago coming in. I think Justin Fields has made some big improvements. He looked good at the end of last year. I think it's either going to be Chicago or Minnesota out of that division. I think Justin Fields going to make some big strides, and yeah, we'll see. I think I like the Bears.
I think my biggest
Vikings.
problem with Minnesota is that I don't want Minnesota. I know, but I don't want them to win the division. And this is the reason why. Like, you might be right. They might win the division, but how can you just go through the regular season, be that good, and just like not show up in the playoffs? Like, I want to see an NFC North team that wins that division, that is actually good, that can maybe make a run in the play. Kirk Cousins, I don't understand what his problem is in big games, man. How can you be like that for so long? He could win every meaningless football game in the world, and then he goes and plays a meaningful game and just gets destroyed.
You know what though?
I don't know. I think I'm
I was going to say,
I don't know. I'm taking Green Bay. Honestly,
No.
yeah. Jordan Love. What are you guys' thoughts on Jordan Love, real quick, before we leave?
I mean, he looks good in preseason. He played a couple regular season games last year and didn't look great. And while I like Chicago, and to get on with Minnesota too, Minnesota last year, if you remember, no one thought they were going to do well in the playoffs, and it's because all those regular season games, they won so many by 1 or 2 points. There were so many nail biters, and everyone knew it was well, wait till we get to postseason. I don't think they're going to do much. And sure enough, they lose in the first round, I think they did. And I feel like it could be. And I think if they lose a couple of those games, I think that division's pretty open for either Chicago or maybe even Detroit. I don't really like Green Bay. I don't think Jordan Love didn't really look that impressive last year. I know maybe he's improved, but he looks so good in preseason. It's it's preseason. It's still preseason to me. So we'll see. I like Chicago coming out.
The Vikings are my home team, so I got love for them.
So Doug,
yes.
G Unit. Who did you take? I forget. Who were you taking in the NFC North? G Unit.
I got the Minnesota Vikings.
Again, I think the Vikings were even better when they had the stadium outside.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
They showed everybody down. Every year they beat the Rams in the first division playoff because the Rams couldn't take the cold up there in Minnesota. And I think when they had the indoor stadium, I think they lost an element that the Vikings had for decades, where nobody wanted to go play them in the playoffs because it was going to be so freaking cold. Your butt was frozen by the time ice was on your legs and uniform. I mean, you didn't care about the game. All you wanted to do was get in the locker room.
Yeah.
NFC North.
And hey, Goddess James. The NFC Goddess James. Just so you know, Doug Plank, the guy talking in the middle there, he played for the Chicago Bears for a long time.
Really?
So you know, that's Doug. So NFC
70.
yes,
Nice.
so he knows. about
fair.
like
Wow, that's crazy. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
so like he knows about playing football games in Minnesota like in probably like December and
Yes.
January.
I
Oh,
grew up watching the NFL with my dad, so that's really cool to be talking to an NFL player right now. Wow, so cool.
And
Really cool.
What you were? Wait a minute. Hey, Goddess Jane, remind me, you're a stupid Patriots fan, aren't you?
What'd you say?
Sorry.
I'm about to put you in the box.
You're a Patriots. you're a Patriots fan, aren't you?
And right here.
Oh
Connecticut.
my God, you and Ben. How do we have two Patriots fan on Sports and Tacos, dude?
I know.
Anyway.
Don't me.
Okay, so this is an AFC West show. Just so Joe, why aren't you repping your stupid Raiders, Joe?
It's because I went to my parents.
Nobody
I don't
wants
have
to
any
see
of
the
my
muscle shirt.
clothes. I don't have any of my like clothes or anything.
Oh.
I got my parents. I came here to
That's
do
right,
laundry,
you're in the
so
parents.
They're all getting. It's
You're
all
in your
getting
parents'
washed.
basement, like
What's
usual.
up? It's
Right,
upstairs.
forget.
It's upstairs. It's good. It's a good podcasting room, dude. I came here for this. So I'm in my parents'
tell
basement.
everybody. Tell
Keep it
your mom
down.
and dad I said hi. Okay, so NFC North, NFC East. That's pretty easy, I think. You got the Redskins, the Giants. Well, maybe it's not easy. Redskins, Giants, Cowboys, Eagles. Like the Cowboys and the Giants might be, they might be decent, but I don't see anybody but the Eagles winning this division. Does anybody have a different opinion there?
I got Eagles.
Anybody but the Eagles?
Eagles should win the division, but Jalen Hurts is a one-hit wonder. They're not going to dominate like this last year.
Well, on the NFC, someone
And
touched
Cowboys
it.
are
Go,
Cowboys.
Jeff.
I mean, come on.
Go.
Well, I
Cowboys
was
are
gonna
gonna
say, how do we feel? How do we feel about the Cowboys?
Oh,
Where's
Who's
the chocolate time?
I'm on timeout.
Who's going to the box?
It's either. I think it's you,
It's your
JC,
call.
Oh All
in the
right.
box.
JC. How many minutes?
Just one to start. But I start a timer
Just
and
one
show
to
everyone. Okay, 1 minute starting now.
Oh, what is that?
That's not me. I don't know who that is.
Okay, awesome.
But-
Joe, you're in the box. Okay. What's
One at a time.
anybody got any thoughts on the Cowboys? Doug, what's your thought on what's your thought on the division and the
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be a bad team. I just don't think they're going to be a good team. And you go down there, and there's a lot of distractions, and everyone thinks they're a superstar on that team. And I'm not saying they're egotistical. That's what happens when you become a Cowboy. You think you're the best, wonderful team of all times. And I'll just say this about the Eagles: I never, ever, ever, ever liked going to Philadelphia and playing because you were called names that I'd never heard before. And they were usually names like 3 and 4 together. You, MF, this, blah, 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 blah. Like you actually felt you felt bad at the end of the game because I didn't know anybody hated me that bad or was yelling and screaming at me. The locker room was just disastrous. It looked like something from junior high. But when you get on that field, it was a hostile crowd and aggressive players. And you know what? It's never changed. That team has maintained that identity for decades. And then when you go to Philadelphia, you're going to get punched in the face. It's going to be a fight from the beginning to the end. And, and then they got a good team on top of that, guys that want to play together. I give a lot of credit to that organization because, they lay out a path for that team to take, and they get on the path.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so anybody again? I always use $1,000 in Vegas. I'm taking the Eagles. Bentley, you got anybody but the Eagles?
New York Giants, if they have the best chance, but the Eagles are not going to be the team that we had this last season. They've been exposed.
I get that, but
I'll give it either Eagles or
just to
Giants.
win the division. Got to make a decision. You're at the sports book in Vegas, bro.
Giants.
No, that's interesting. Joe, you got anybody but the Eagles?
Eagles. My question was, is if Dallas gets off to like a slow start, how like soon do you think we're going to see Trey Lance now? You know,
Week 5.
week 5? Maybe, I don't know.
Wow. You just blew my
It's
my
like, why
mind.
else gonna make that
Stallion.
trade? You're not gonna give him a shot or make it a competition, you know?
That's
Who knows
true.
what Dak might
Yeah,
respond
maybe
to
the
as well.
writing. Maybe, maybe that's the fire Dak needs, because Trey Lance, like, he didn't really get the opportunity he deserved with the Niners. You know, maybe injuries, this, that. Who knows? G Unit, $1,000 at the sports book in Vegas. You got the Eagles, right?
Oh, I got the Eagles, and especially because the Chiefs played the Eagles in the last Super Bowl, and it was just such a good game. I hope that we play them again. You know.
Yeah.
That was a hell of
Does
a good.
Megan or Goddess J does Goddess Jane or Megan have any opinion on the NFC East?
Well, I'm waiting to talk about the Jets.
$1,000 in Vegas.
I'm waiting to talk about the Jets.
We're getting there, Megan. We're getting there.
But I'm going to put.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. All right.
I'm going with the Eagles.
I would go for Eagles. I like them.
Go.
That's
The Eagles.
That's all I know.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we always pretend like we're putting $1,000 in Vegas. Okay, so we got the NFC East done, the NFC North, the NFC South is probably the worst division, maybe not in football. It could be the worst division ever in football. So you got the Saints, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers. And the problem with these teams is I don't think I can name – is Baker the starting quarterback going into the season for the Panthers? Does anybody know? I can't name one starting quarterback of any of these teams right now, I don't think.
Doug,
Can
you
anybody?
got Doug's got
Buccaneers. Is he
Who's
with
Tampa's
Buccaneers?
starting quarterback?
Baker.
Carolina's the Bryce Young.
So Baker is going to be the start. I'm sorry.
It started for the Bucks,
Oh,
I think.
man. Bryce Young. I don't want to – yeah.
Sis?
Oh, my God.
I
So
looked it up.
Doug, we're going to let you kick it off. You got to put $1,000 on one of these teams, Doug, to win the division. Which one of these dumpster fires are you going to put your $1,000 on?
You can have the whole franchise. You know what? I'm Megan knows this. I'm not very often without words, but I'm without words. I don't know where to go with this thing. I just think both of the teams have shown at times last year where they won 1 week. I thought they put a week 2 together. Usually they never put a week 2 together. I think the majority of the teams just don't have that core group to sustain and win games. And I know there's going to be somebody who's going to end up winning that division, but clearly that's the weakest division in the league. And if I was a coach, I did coach for 10 years. I would be more aggressive. I would try to do things that ordinarily we wouldn't do. Like, when I was with the Bears and we had Walter Payton, we ran right, we ran left. And third down, Walter would get a screen pass. That was the 3 plays we had. That's all. Those guys just don't seem like they that loaded offense where they can just go up there. They just stacked at every position, and they're going to score a lot of points. And and their defenses aren't very good either. So I don't know. I'll go Carolina.
Go Carolina. All right. Hey, Adam, we got Adam Bricker on, guys. He's the kind of the second half of the show. Adam is a big-time pickleball guy. Fantasy football, pickleball, that's his thing. So what we're doing right now, Adam, we're just predicting division winners right now. So you could chime in. We're just wrapping up kind of the NFC. We're going to dive into the AFC, and then we'll get into pickleball and fantasy football with Adam Bricker. Is that cool with you, Adam?
Sounds great, Spencer. And put me down for fly, Eagles, fly all the way.
Yeah, we just got through. Yeah, that was a pretty much unanimous. The only Bentley put his, said he would take the Giants, which is kind of cool. But for that division, we were just talking about kind of the dumpster fire that is the NFC South. I don't. Do we even need to? I'm not even going to waste any time taking division winners in the NFC South right now because we only got so much time on this podcast. The NFC West is kind of interesting. You got the Niners, who should be, they should win that division. But my main thing about that division is Seattle is a dark horse, and they had every one of the Broncos draft picks for the last 2 years, and they just barely missed the playoffs last year. So Geno Smith and all the Denver Broncos draft picks now, Seattle could be up and coming. I'm not saying they're going to knock off the Niners, but I do think that this has been my opinion for the last 6 months. If I was the San Francisco 49ers, I'd be picking up the telephone and I'd be getting Tom Brady out of retirement to come and win a Super Bowl, because my personal opinion is the only team that can knock off the Kansas City Chiefs this year is a Tom Brady-led San Francisco 49ers. That's the only team. I don't know what Purdy's going to do, but so Doug, NFC West, you got to put $1,000 in Vegas. You want to make some money. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. What team are you taking?
No, here's the other thing too. When you have familiarity with the team and you know somebody, I know John Lynch, your general manager. I've always respected him as a player and as a general manager. And I saw him last year. I did a game up there. The Cardinals went up there. The Arizona Cardinals just got beat to death. And but they do it. There's a plan to it. It's not just like a bunch of ogres out there on the field running around beating everybody up. Kind of like the old Raiders, how they said smash it, score touchdowns. They were more physical. The 49ers have a plan, and they execute it on offense and defense. And that's why I really don't think there's anybody else that's going to come close to them. I know they didn't do very well in the playoffs, but I think their front office is good. They got a great coaching staff, and they've got some very, very talented players.
Got it. So just so you know, Doug, positive talk about the Raiders on this podcast will be frowned upon. Just so you know, because this is a Denver Broncos podcast. Even though Alex Ginzel and Joe Camparelli would disagree. All right, Stallion, who you taking in this division? $1,000. I mean, I know Seattle's NFC West. Again, the Rams are going to be a little better, I think, than last year. Seattle's going to be much improved, but if you had to make, pretend we're stranded in Vegas and we blew all our money, and we're down to our last $100. Which one of these teams are you?
That seems like a real life scenario.
No, you would never do something like that.
I would have to the 49ers. When is Brock Purdy? Does he come back at the start of the year, or is he out for a few weeks?
I don't know what's going on. I just know that Tom Brady is not the quarterback.
It's not Tom Brady. It's Brock Purdy. I still think I'd have to take the 49ers. I just think that team is very well run. Kyle Shanahan, that a lot of kind of crap's been given him for this Trey Lance trade. Well, it's like every other thing that team or that front office has done has been basically perfect. They've been in the Super Bowl running the past 5 or 6 years. So I think I would have to pick the 49ers. It would just be, I think, foolish.
Adam, you got to put $1,000. You're stranded in Vegas. Which team are you taking in the NFC West?
Well, since Tom Brady's not coming back to play for the 49ers, I'm going with the Rams. I mean, this team's only 1 year away from 1 year and 18 injuries away from a Super Bowl. They got the talent. It looks like they're putting it all together. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the season, they'll all be back. Cooper Kupp's looking strong. The running game's looking strong. And quite frankly, the other two teams just aren't that strong. So yeah, I'll put my $1,000 on the Rams.
When you look at it, the Rams, I think, still have the best quarterback in the division.
I don't think he can throw the ball, dude. Matt Stafford, I'm pretty sure his shoulders giving out on him.
But still, I'm talking about like
That's what I
proven
kinda heard.
which. I mean, they like you said, they're just a
That is
year
true.
and like a couple of weeks away from a Super Bowl. Bentley Fierro, $1,000. You're stranded in Vegas.
Here. I have a flip side. Yes, Rams will win the division, but 49ers will go deep in the playoffs and beat them.
No, they won't. That's my problem. The Niners are lacking a freaking quarterback. I don't know. They just are. I mean, are you really going to hang your hat on Brock Purdy to take you to the promised land? Seriously. They have a good team to do it.
Only the Niners would be able to pull that
Yeah,
off. I would say nobody else but Niners. Look what they did with Jimmy G.
Name the last Super Bowl winner that didn't have a great quarterback.
Buccaneers, Bradshaw, what's his name?
Like 20 years ago, Brad Johnson.
Yeah, there you go.
Like it's happened like 5 times ever. Like ever.
Mhm.
So that's all I'm saying, you know, and every one of those teams had an all-time great defense, pretty much.
Yeah, and 2000
So-
Ravens.
Yeah, again, all-time great defense. So that's all I'm saying, you know, like they probably will win the division, but okay, let's move on to the AFC. So AFC East, you got the Bills, you got the Jets, you got the Dolphins, and you have the New England Patriots.
Can I start?
Okay, go. Start.
Okay.
Let's hear about the Patriots, Bentley,
AFC West.
because we care.
I'm gonna call it out right now. You know who's gonna win that division?
No. AFC East. Can't change the
I'm sorry.
topic.
East.
AFC
Excuse me.
East.
Yeah, I'm thinking too much of the Raiders. Sorry. AFC East.
Nobody wants to talk about the stupid Raiders.
No.
AFC East. You know who I think is going to win the division is the Dolphins.
Wow.
And let me tell you why.
That's fair enough.
Patriots,
Yes, I wanna hear
unfortunately,
this.
they're going in the wrong direction. Mac
Fuck.
Jones is another Drew Bledsoe. He's not going to take us to the promised land. I don't trust right now the Patriots at all. The Bills, we know who the Bills are, okay? And the Jets will be the Jets. They'll play okay. They'll play better. But the Jets, the surprise team for me, which I was really impressed last year and now this season, the Dolphins are going to get better. The Dolphins, I would see winning the division. They're the team to beat in that division. And the Patriots, unfortunately, with Mac Jones and the direction everything is going right now, I have no confidence with the Patriots. It's really sad. I prefer just start Zappy. He's some kind of a playmaker. So there's my piece.
If Bama
like
were on
it.
here, he would agree with you. My own personal opinion is I kind of believe in that, but my problem with the Dolphins is Tua is one concussion away of being in the not for long league. Doug, what's your thoughts of the AFC East? Bills, Jets,
and I agree.
and what are your
No, I
Go
think
ahead.
it's me or Buffalo. I wouldn't go with the Jets. No disrespect to anybody on that football team. That everybody accumulates wear and tear in their lives, and I think there's players on that team that have accumulated a lot of wear and tear that I don't think can finish out a season. It's maybe great that first 5 games, 6 games. But I look at Miami. I played in some of the worst games down there. What do I mean by that? At the beginning of the game, it was raining like crazy, like a torrential downpour. Then it stopped at the end of the first quarter. Then the sun came out, and we were like in a sauna. And you at halftime, nobody wanted to go back out and play the second half because they were so exhausted and sweating. And the same thing is true with Buffalo. Late in the year, you don't want to be in Buffalo. I know it's got the Niagara Falls and stuff, but man, it's a cold, freezing place. And you get the end of the year, and those two teams, they have advantages. Miami early, Buffalo late. But I know Buffalo didn't play as well as they should have towards the end of the season. But I'd probably be more a believer in a quarterback like Josh Allen that's already shown it and proved it in the past, especially when it gets into the playoffs. And I know he didn't do very well last year in terms of getting them, far in the playoffs. But and that's no disrespect for Miami because I've seen them just overpower a few teams last year. I mean, they owned the line of scrimmage. They got great athletes. Even the fans usually, they went to sleep down there watching Dolphin games. Not anymore. They're part of the game. I mean, they're cheering. It's a hostile place to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And welcome
Joe,
Josh Allen. He bought a house
Joe-
in my neighborhood.
he's out. Joe, you got to. What's your thoughts of the AFC East?
The
I think
thoughts-
the Bills. You're only going to be good for so long. You only got a chance to be good for so long before that chance dwindles away. So, what's your thoughts of the AFC East, Joe? And,
Bills-
touch on the Jets. I mean,
No, I like kind of
Go
what you said, that the Bills window, it might be kind of, they've been good. It might be closing a little soon, but I kind of, I'm going to take a page out of your book and just, the 4 quarterbacks in the division, Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Tua, and Aaron Rodgers. I'll take the top 2 quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, and I'll say the Jets are going to take the division. Take Aaron Rodgers. I like the Aaron Rodgers, think Garrett Wilson, that wide receiver. He's I think, he did all right last year, and he didn't have, the best ball throwers to him, and now he's got Aaron Rodgers. I think it might be a big year for him, and a fun team to watch. So I'm going to take the Jets.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers knows how to throw some balls. He's all about throwing balls. So, Adam, what's your thoughts on the AFC East?
Yeah, so the Jets really did a great job picking up Aaron Rodgers, putting a team around them. But they're the Jets, so I'm not picking them. Not a chance. Not a chance. I'm a South Florida guy, so I'm down here in Miami. I'm really familiar with what Doug was talking about. As a matter of fact, I'm a product from the University of Florida, where we invented Gatorade to deal with that stuff. I ain't picking the Dolphins either. The Jets, the Buffalo Bills window might be small, but it's their time. I don't know if they can go far enough to win the championship this year, but I think they have the AFC East pretty easily.
Yeah, man. I'm taking the Jets.
What are you doing?
Just because Dalvin Cook. I mean, with that defense, Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook, I don't know. I'm kind of getting bored of the Buffalo Bills. Every season for the last 5 years, they should go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, and it's just not happening. So,
well, Spencer, you probably know this really well. Winning is something you have to learn how to do. Winning is a skill; it's a habit, and it's not entrenched in Buffalo yet. And if they can get over that hump, it'd be really surprising, but it'd be really great to see.
Well, I would use John Elway's the early part of John Elway's career kind of as the comparison for Josh Allen. But see, this is the difference, though. John Elway was taking the Broncos to the Super Bowl and getting his butt kicked every year. Josh Allen still hasn't even gotten them to a Super Bowl. That's my problem. And then Elway had to go get him a team 10 years later to finally get over the hump, So that's kind of my issue with the Bills. Like you're only going to be able to pay those contracts to the players that might be able to help you win a Super Bowl for so long in this day and age. That's all I'm saying. G Unit, what's your thoughts on the AFC East? Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and the Patriots.
Man, I agree with what you guys are saying about the Buffalo Bills. Would, could, should. They're always good, but they never go more than that. Man, the New York Jets, I think, are going to be good with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go Jets.
Jets? Goddess Jam. What is your prediction for the AFC East? You think your New England Patriots are going to be good this year, Goddess Jam?
No. Honestly,
no.
It's hard for me to say this, but no, I don't think so. Which is hard.
I know. I'm there with you. I'm a Denver Broncos fan, so I need a support group. I think the Patriots and the Broncos need to start an NFL support group because I don't think you understand how sad it is for me since 2015 to just watch my Broncos completely suck. And now every wide receiver is gone for the Broncos, is gone for the Broncos. Megan, do you got any opinion on this? You wanted to talk about the Jets.
Totally for the Jets. Just think about it, you guys. Look at history. So they just over Aaron Rodgers, right? Think of what happened when Brady moved, When Manning moved, oh man, I think Aaron Rodgers got the same flair, 100%.
How do you guys think Aaron Rodgers is going to handle New York media coming from little old Green Bay, Wisconsin?
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think he's going to have some fun with it. I think it's going to be fun too.
I don't think it will be. I think it'll be really fun if they're really good. But the New York media, if you are not good, you're toast instantly. And I don't know if he's the kind of guy who can handle that. Because I mean, it will be multiplied by 100 as it was in Green Bay. Because in Green Bay, you can suck and get away with it for a little while. Not in New York. So if they don't come out strong, I just kind of wonder. And Aaron Rodgers, he kind of seems to me like a guy who's got a little bit of thin skin. He's not a real, he seems like he's got stuff that kind of, whatever. That's just that's just my own personal opinion of Aaron Rodgers. So
I coach one year with and I have to agree with you 100%. You are under the spotlight continually, morning, noon, and night. And, Brett Favre also went up there, another great quarterback that somehow lost his way between the beginning and the end of the season. There's so many distractions. It's hard to concentrate on what you're doing up there because it's not like going to one of these towns where people aren't constantly attacking you in the media, on the radio, on television. I mean, their fans are never happy with anything. And unless they go to the Super Bowl and win it, I mean, I think, there's going to be a lot of criticism.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. This is what I think is going to be the most competitive division in football, and that's the AFC North. You got the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens. What are your thoughts on this division? Like, every one of these teams could be good this year. What are your thoughts, Doug? I'll let you kick off the AFC North.
No, honestly, you kept going through those. I'm thinking, okay, where is the weak team? Every time you said a team, I go, okay, that's another strong team, another strong team. And then you just went through every one of them. You go, okay, they're all strong teams. I never liked personally playing any of those teams you just mentioned. Not because I felt like we weren't going to win or lose, because they beat the crap out of you. They were physical. Their dimension coming into the game was, we're just going to destroy this team. We don't care about winning or losing. I mean, they do, but you know what? You were limping off the field. Now, that was our job in Chicago, trying to, hit teams as hard as we could. The Raiders, man, it was personal, and it was just a dog. And every one of those teams, I would not want to be in that division.
Yeah.
Right. So, because, I mean, Pittsburgh, I think they found their quarterback. The Browns got Deshaun for the whole season. The Ravens, they're going to be good with Lamar. And Cincinnati is like the crown jewel of the division. So, man, that division's going to be super tough. $1,000 in Vegas, Doug. Who you taking? Bengals, Steelers, Browns, Ravens.
I don't know. I don't ask me why. I like the Bengals. I have respect for every one of those teams, the utmost respect. But I like what they do. I like some of the play selections they run. I think watching them on television, there seems to be a lot of unity on the field as well as on the sideline. You can tell a lot about what's happening in a game. I get a chance to go see a lot of games in person, so I watch the sidelines. If the team isn't in it, the guys are all over the place. They're drinking water. Some are coming out of the locker room. They don't, it's like a free-for-all. Teams that are focused like this division, man, they're bringing their best every play.
Yeah. But to Adam, what's your thoughts on the AFC North? Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Bengals.
The $1,000 in this one's pretty easy for me. I have the Steelers at the head of the pack. They got great leadership with this kid out of Pittsburgh. He's the second coming of Dan Marino as far as these guys are concerned. Comes right out of the University of Pittsburgh. They got Pittsburgh, Pickett, and Pickens. They're all so I'm picking them to be number one. They have an incredible running back that is not Najee Harris. This kid Warren is going to have a piece of the pie that I just, from what I'm seeing in the preseason, is amazing. But the deciding factor that puts them above the Bengals for me, and I don't necessarily think they're a better team than the Bengals, but they got a much easier schedule. Bengals are playing that first place schedule. They got they have all the first place teams from all the AFC other division leaders. And I think it's like a 4-game advantage for the Steelers. So I'm picking the Steelers to win the division, but the Bengals to also have a wild card.
Bentley, who you taking in the AFC North, dude?
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool. It's just that simple. My only issue with the Joe Cool play is he is a fragile little guy, and when he's healthy, he's one of the top 3, at least top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. But sooner or later, he's gonna get hurt. That's the only way I see the Bengals not winning this division. So I'm taking, if I had to put $1,000 on anybody, it would be the Bengals. But I just would worry about sooner or later Burrow is a little fragile.
My
Champ.
second choice would be the Steelers, though.
Champ. What are you putting $1,000?
I like Baltimore. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I think Mark Andrews, he was a little beat up last year. He's coming back fully healthy this year. I think Lamar and Andrews are going to get on track early, and I think that offense is going to kind of get going. And obviously, Baltimore's always got the mean defense. I think they're going to I think they're taking that division. I'm going to go Baltimore. Nobody
has any love for the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. Well, he's been out of the massage parlors for like a year and a half now, we assume.
Well, okay? I was going to say
when before he got suspended, he was arguably one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the NFL, and he now has a full season. And I don't know a whole lot about the rest of the team he's got around him, but nobody's given Deshaun a chance to win this division. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. But
what? He's better than Lamar Jackson, but he just doesn't have the support team.
Well, and I just don't. He hasn't been like Deshaun. He hasn't been amazing in 3 years now since we've seen him as like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but he hasn't been taking. He hasn't been getting destroyed every week either. He's got like that. I guarantee that's added some longevity to
his career. But he maybe lost some mojo. Maybe like him not getting those massages is like screwing with his head.
He might have the best running back in the league, in the division. He might have the best receiver in the division, but football above any other team is a team sport. You got to gel as a team, and I haven't seen them gel like Cincy or Pittsburgh has.
Yeah, and they're kind of like the Lions. The Browns are just the most snake-bitten organization. They are the worst run organization in football, in my opinion. Just so many times they should be good, and they're just not.
Yeah.
They're just not. And sometimes, in my opinion, this is my opinion, it comes from the top down, but that's just me, So I think I got to take the Bengals. Joe, you got the Ravens. Yeah. Do the ladies got any opinion on G Unit? Any opinions?
I've got the Bengals. I've got the Bengals, but I have a lot of Ravens fans that are friends, and they say that the Ravens are going to be really good this year. So I got both of them.
Bama says that every year, and every year they're like one and done, or maybe two and done in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson, he is amazing, but I just don't see him ever winning a Super Bowl. I hate to say that, but I just don't know if a running quarterback is ever going to win the Super Bowl. But that's just my opinion. Or like a majority, maybe not even majority run quarterback is going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know. It just seems like every year a pocket passing quarterback typically wins the Super Bowl, and it's just because it's the NFL. A quarterback is never going to be able to consistently take on linebackers and win that battle for a season or seasons. Sooner or later, Lamar Jackson's going to lose a battle with a linebacker, and it ain't going to be good, So
there's defenses out there in the National Football League, like against Lamar. They would not even put pressure on him. They would surround him and let him make a mistake back in the pocket. Throw the ball. He's going to get an interception. You don't want to chase him because he's gone, and you're not going to catch him. I've never seen him get caught from behind. Teams, their strategy, let him go ahead and throw the ball. Because we didn't win the game if he throws the ball. And you watch all these teams put all these crazy defensive blitzes together. He comes flying out of there. He's on his way. And so, it's all just copycat is great news in the NFL. If you get beat once and a team is shown on film how to do it, every other opponent is going to give you the same defense the rest of the year. So it's all copycats. That's what this league is. You copy the guy that did a great job.
Yeah. All right, we'll try and quickly get through the next two divisions. AFC South. To me, it's one of the easier divisions to pick because you got the Jaguars, the Colts, the Titans, and the Texans. I think Jacksonville and I'm high on Trevor Lawrence this year. Honestly, I think that Jacksonville might be one of the only teams in the AFC that has a true, other than maybe the Bengals and the Bills, but that could knock off the Chiefs. That's just my own opinion. Trevor Lawrence, that team, if the things go right, I see Jacksonville becoming a very good team. I see Trevor Lawrence becoming like a top 5 quarterback. So I got Jacksonville in this division all day. I think Tennessee is trending down. Indianapolis, like whatever. Houston, whatever. So my $1,000 is for surely going on Jacksonville. I honestly think Jacksonville could make it to the AFC Championship game. And again, it's because the window is you only got that window for so long. And honestly, that kind of goes for the Bengals also. The Bengals and the Bills, they're going to be good. I could see both of those teams losing in the divisional round and Jacksonville being the next stud team coming out of the AFC. Now, are they going to knock off Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. But if that game were to somehow be played in Jacksonville, I think they could knock off G-Unit's Kansas City Chiefs. That's just my opinion. Doug, what are your thoughts on the AFC South?
Well, I have to totally agree with you. I saw the Titans do the same thing to Kansas City. Kansas City came to Nashville, and they just contained him. They didn't let him run out of the pocket, and they won the game. He has skills. He has the ability to throw the ball and do all the other things. But I think when you add his whole dimension, Kansas City was kind of like in a unique situation because their quarterback was a magician in everything he did. Everything from underhand throws, overhand is running. Oh my gosh, he was like just Mr. Creation. And but I think this is a division, another division though that there's a lot of different possibilities in it. But I like every team in that division. I think they're all entertaining. They're fun to watch. They're fun to be doing a game, broadcasting a game. It's it's not 7-0. It's always high scoring games, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah. Awesome. What are your thoughts, Adam, real quick, just on the AFC South?
Jacksonville is clearly the cream of the crop in that division. The team's young, the team's strong. Really, what you said about the opposite of Cleveland. Jacksonville cleaned house on the hierarchy of their front office. They tried it with Urban Meyer, and that didn't work. And then they brought in Doug Peterson. They seem to be doing everything right. It looks like they really want to build up a strong team and actually move it to London. So Jacksonville, the smallest city in the NFL, should get a division title this year as that team builds because the division just doesn't have a superpower in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Jay Champ, what's your thoughts on AFC South?
I like Jacksonville. I think I like your call. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's really going to come into his own, go strong off of last year. I don't think Tennessee, still Ryan Tannehill. I think he's probably the next big threat in that division, huh?
Yeah. Probably, but again, that's just a team. It's like that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda team to me. So
did they sign DeAndre Hopkins? Is that who they signed? Tennessee?
I don't know. God,
I
don't think it really matters, honestly. Yeah. All right, G Unit, Goddess Jane, Megan, any of you got an opinion on the AFC South? Jacksonville. Goddess Jane.
What were the choices again? Because I'm getting them all mixed up in my head. We've gone through so many.
Okay, so yeah, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Jaguars,
the Indianapolis Colts.
Colts.
Who's the Colts quarterback this year? Anybody?
Anthony Richardson, rookie from the University of Florida.
I wonder if is he starting?
Oh yeah. Oh, you can't bench that guy.
Got it. So then you have Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans just named a guy named C.J. Stroud their starting quarterback. And the reason the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback, this guy Trevor Lawrence, is an up-and-coming super stud.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
No doubt.
let me just get a quick poll votes. Spencer, who would you choose?
Jacksonville.
Okay, and then Adam, who would you
Adam.
choose?
Jacksonville.
And JC, who would you choose? And Doug, who would you choose?
Jacksonville.
Megan,
Jacksonville.
and you would choose Jacksonville. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Jacksonville.
I guess
Go with
everyone goes
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, even though I'm a little biased to the Colts. I don't know why I just like them.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Their rookie quarterback could be amazing. Same thing with
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud.
It
It's
sounds
just
like with all the information, like Jacksonville just sounds like the best choice.
typically rookie
good.
quarterbacks, very rarely does a rookie quarterback come into the NFL and just tear it up. That it happens very rarely. Like once or twice ever in history. There's growing pains when you are a rookie quarterback in the NFL. So
Yeah.
okay, let's wrap this up. We'll wrap up divisions with the AFC West. Okay, so you have the stupid Las Vegas Raiders.
Let's go.
You have the stupid Kansas City Chiefs. You have nobody really cares about the Chargers, and you have the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
I don't even want to talk about the Broncos.
First of all, this is the best division. This is the best division.
It's not the best division because it's quite well. Okay, the only thing about this division to me, they're on paper. Like I said, I don't think anybody in the entire NFL is going to hang with the Kansas City Chiefs this year. My reasoning for that is the team they won the Super Bowl with last year, in my opinion, wasn't even as good as the team they beat the 49ers with 3 years ago. They had way more rookies. It was a less talented Kansas City Chiefs team, and they still won the Super Bowl. And there's a bunch of rookies on that team last year who are now going to be second-year starters, and they had all their draft picks. They're just only getting better. But the Chargers could give them a run for their money, maybe. What are your thoughts, Doug, on the AFC West? Because my Broncos, I hate to say it, Sean Payton, I think I have no idea. I do not think Russell Wilson was the answer. That's just my opinion. And now we have no wide receivers to throw to because our top two are done for the season. Number 3 is out for 2 months. Cortland Sutton is the Broncos' best receiver once again. And Russell Wilson's going to have nobody to throw the football to. So I don't think it's the Broncos. I think the Raiders and the Broncos are absolutely going to be battling for the dumpster fire bottom of this division. But Doug, what's your thoughts on the AFC West?
Well, before the season began, I was hoping Denver, they were pulling some trades off and some coaches were going there. And they looked good the other night. I mean, whatever reason you want to say, they dominated that game. And I know a lot of coaches on their staff, but I think in comparison, it's tough to go against the winners, for the last couple of years, the Chiefs. And, I just think they've got so much talent in positions, at key positions. Plus, these guys believe in each other. When you watch them play, they're encouraging each other. It's enthusiasm. I mean, they're all cheering for each other, and I think that helps them. I mean, they got a great team unit there. Whatever you think. I mean, it's very. I've been to that Kansas City, stadium, And, you know, really, you just go in there. It's out in the middle, like you know, Field of Dreams. There's nothing else around it except parking lots. You just drive up, and there's this huge stadium way out in the suburbs. No houses around or anything like that. And those people are serious. And they come to the game, one of the loudest places I've ever been in my life. Fans can cheer from the beginning to the very end. So I got to go with the Chiefs.
That's right, Doug. Thank you.
Adam, what is anybody got a chance of taking this division from the Chiefs?
So, you know, and Doug will know this, that there's a huge trend in the NFL now doing throwback uniforms. The Broncos ought to bring their throwback mascot out. The big fat guy with the beer barrel and the suspenders.
Barrel Man. I used to love Barrel Man. You guys, side note, when Barrel Man auctioned off that barrel before he passed away, like it auctioned off for like, I think $80,000 or $100,000 because he had like a lifetime of Broncos autographs on the thing. Just so you know, little side note.
Time to bring back Son of Barrel Man, and you know, and we got the Las Vegas Raiders, who got no chance of winning any division anytime soon. Although I love going to games in Las Vegas, that's a cool stadium. But you know, I'm kind of sweet on Alex, so I'm going with the Chiefs.
No,
just so Alex will give me a couple nods over here. You got it, love.
Adam, don't worry about it. Like if you come back on Sports and Tacos, you'll be hearing about the Kansas City Chiefs and how good Patrick Mahomes is.
That's right.
And how awesome the Kansas City Chiefs are for the next 4 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Until they win
probably
the Super Bowl again.
For the next 4 years.
Probably for the next 10 years. He's like GOAT Jr. J-Champ. This is your time to shine. You have 2 minutes to talk about the stupid
Raiders. AFC West, crown them as champion. Crown them as champ. No, it's going to be tough to take down the Chiefs. And the Raiders, doesn't it remind you of this whole like Josh McDaniels? It reminds me a lot of like when the Broncos brought him in. It's like he gets rid of the quarterback, and now we're bringing in Jimmy G, which, you know, I like Jimmy G, but it doesn't really seem like it's that much of an upgrade from like it's like the same style of quarterback. So I guess Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels probably have that connection from the New England Patriots. So I'm just paying on that they just have like a ridiculous offense. Jimmy G and Devontae can get a little connection. Probably not as good as DC or like theirs ever was, but hopefully they can get something going. We just signed Josh Jacobs to like a year contract. So hopefully we can just get the offense going. I don't really know how that defense is doing, but I'm counting on the offense, Devontae and Jimmy G and Josh to carry me past the Chiefs. We'll see, though.
You know what I'm counting on?
It's just it reminds me too much of when the Broncos brought in Josh McDaniels. It's like we bring him in, he gets rid of the quarterback, brings in another quarterback who's like the exact same one. Like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about the season, but it's my team.
Josh, I did.
First game in Denver, baby. We won.
I think Bentley was talking about this last year. Like, I think they would have fired Josh McDaniels after the end of last season, but literally they would have been paying 2 coaches that weren't coaching the team anymore.
Well, we did
because I hate Josh McDaniels. I can't stand him. I think he's the worst head coach the Denver Broncos ever hired. I can't stand the guy.
Yeah,
he came in and just destroyed everything Mike Shanahan had built.
Yeah.
Let the man respond.
Seriously, Spence.
Stay in the box, Spencer.
No, I forgot what I was going to say. It was something about Josh McDaniels.
60 seconons.
It better be something smart because you guys got the show for 1 minute.
Okay, I will speak for Spencer. Anyway,
well, we gotta give Miss G here the Kansas City minute.
Oh yeah, let's hear about the Chiefs.
Yeah,
they are.
Tell us.
Plug in, sweetheart.
Oh man, they're just good. And Doug, I love everything that you said. I've been to so many games at the stadium, and it is the loudest stadium out of the NFL. Their camaraderie, their team unit, Andy Reid, just all of them, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all their new players, like they just all bring this energy that is like just so inspiring. And that's what executing and winning and making it to the Super Bowl is all about. And they have that. And, you know, all these teams that we're talking about, they're all good. They all have great players, but like you have to execute, you know, and the Chiefs just have it. They cheer each other on. They have that energy. They're just that winning team. And Andy Reid is behind that. And it takes a really good coach and a good quarterback to really take the team to the end. So
I just think Patrick Mahone is a nice guy on
Yeah.
top of
just such a nice guy. Watch Quarterback on Netflix. Watch Quarterback. You can actually see behind the scenes what he does, what he goes through on a day-to-day basis. And he's such a family man, and just everything about him. He's a winner.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
That's what
remember. Sorry, I was gonna say I remember when Patrick Mahomes came around. I still remember, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's so hot!" Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, he is, but no, he's married. He's got.
I know.
Wife and brother.
I just remember everyone on Instagram was like, "Oh my God."
I know.
Let me ask you a question. What do you guys think of the new coaches at Denver Broncos? I mean, do you think that was an upgrade or just?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I mean, I think
Sean Payton is absolutely an upgrade. The thing
Yes.
that I've talked about this on previous shows. I was very surprised that Sean Payton took the Broncos job, and this is the reason why. I thought last year, what's his face at San Diego was going to get fired, and I personally think that the Chargers job was a much better job to take than the Broncos job because it comes with a top 5 quarterback. And you know, in LA, I hate to say it, but like nobody really cares about the Chargers. They're kind of like the redheaded stepchild of SoFi Stadium. They don't have this insane fan base that's going to run you out of town in a year or two if you don't win. And he is taking over, you know, maybe Walmart, you know, the Broncos got bought out by Walmart. Maybe who knows? But I don't think Russell Wilson is the answer. I don't think that Sean Payton would have been Sean Payton in general without a Drew Brees. So if Russell Wilson is not the answer, there's no guarantee that he's going to find his next Drew Brees. And I think that if I was him, I would have went back to television for 1 year. I would have waited for the Chargers to fire, I forget his name, their head coach, and I would have taken the Chargers job. But as a Broncos fan, I'm super happy that we got a guy like Sean Payton because if Russell Wilson, if there is somebody who can resurrect Russell Wilson, it would be a Sean Payton, you know. But I think he took the long shot over a much more sure thing with the Chargers.
You know what? I know some of the coaches on his staff. They are some of the finest coaches I've ever met in my life in terms of production and getting most out of players. I mean, you can see that in the game they just played against the Rams.
Right.
That was butt kicking from the beginning to the end. Now, it was preseason. Didn't matter. No one was really trying that hard. But, you know, I know they're at least they're giving themselves a chance to win. And they didn't do that the last few years with some of the selections they made at head coach. The Broncos, I'm shaking my head going, are you kidding me? That guy's even coaching. And, you know, obviously, you know, and it never worked out. But, you know, I think Sean, he definitely understands what his personnel is like. But he's got a great staff. And I really expect him to do better this year.
Yeah. So, you know, but on a scale of 1 to 10, like my hopes for the season were a 6. But now after losing all those wide receivers, but who knows? Great coaches, you know, who knows? Maybe Sean Payton can work some miracles. But I ain't betting on it, put it that way, especially not in a division with Patrick effing Mahomes, Mr. GOAT Jr. You know, not anytime soon. Or the San Diego Chargers, Justin Herbert, you know, he's a top 5 quarterback. You got 2 of the best quarterbacks in the division. That's all. So, G Unit. Alex had a couple questions for you, Doug. So you got your phone. Alex,
I got your questions. What was
Awesome.
your most memorable game that you played?
That you ever played?
You know, it was my third year, and we played against the Rams, the LA Rams, and but they had just picked up a quarterback from the Jets, Joe Namath, and it was a Monday night game. And Joe Namath lived 20 miles from me in Pittsburgh, So I was always the Joe Namath fan, regardless of going to Alabama or whatever. You know, he was just the greatest. You know, and I met him several times. You know, throughout my career with the Bears, and also, you know, just meeting him in Pittsburgh. And so we played them on a Monday night game in Soldier Field, and unbelievably, I had 3 interceptions off him that night. One was called back because one of our offensive linemen was holding, or our defensive lineman was holding. That you know, I went up to him afterwards and I said, Joe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch 3 interceptions tonight. He was on the end of his career, you know, with the Rams, and you know, we just beat him up pretty good. But that was my night of all nights.
Really cool.
And you know, having him be my hero, I played high school quarterback, and just to go and hug him after the game was like, he didn't get anything out of it, but I sure did.
There you go.
That's crazy. You had 3 interceptions in one game against Joe Willie Namath. That's insane. Goddess, James, and Alex, do you guys know who Joe Namath was?
He was an all-star, but I don't really like. I don't know.
He
I
was.
talked about it before.
Yeah, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and he made He was the guy who put the AFC on the map. And I don't want to go too deep into NFL history here, but before you had the NFL, you had the NFL and the AFL. They were 2 separate leagues, and eventually they merged to make the NFL. And the AFL was considered like the little kids of the NFL. Nobody paid much attention to the AFL. They were like the chumps. And the first couple Super Bowls, the NFC destroyed the AFC. And Joe Namath, well, I think it was on live TV or an interview. The Jets, who did they play? Was it the Jets played? Anybody remember? The Colts, Johnny Unitas.
Coached by Don Shula.
Yes.
Coached by Don Shula. So Joe Namath, before that Super Bowl, literally said that the New York Jets were going to win the Super Bowl that year. And it was a huge thing because then he went out and did it. Mm-hmm. So it literally put the AFC on the map as a real legit football conference, and the rest was history.
And you intercepted that
just
guy.
So you guys know.
I'm sorry?
3 times in one game.
You intercepted that guy?
You know what's unbelievable about it? The last time I intercepted him, we had one of our guys offsides. Okay, so the play was called back. That was the last pass that Joe Namath threw. They substituted him. So I didn't get the last pass. I think it was another defensive back on the Chicago Bears. But still, you know, I knew the guy because he was from Pittsburgh, and you know, there were some events that I saw him at in the Pittsburgh area, and it was unreal to actually play against him in the last game of his career.
That's
like Beaver Falls history.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly, that's it.
That's nuts. Cool. So just so you girls know, if you're ever bored, just YouTube Joe Namath, and he's a absolute legend. Just so you know. What's your next question? What's your next
Doug,
question?
You're a legend for making you're a legend.
He's the toughest bear. You got to realize that's his nickname. I always say that on the show. He is the toughest bear, biggest bear, Chicago Bears.
Hey, Doug. I forgot to ask you. Did you ever get to play with Butkus?
You know what? I didn't. I missed him by a couple years, and I had a bunch of pictures taken, things like that. You know, but he was, you know, such a tough, rough guy. Every time I met him, he, you know, early on in my career, he was like, just like almost like a bear. Like in the off season, we'd do an autograph signing or something. He was just serious all the time. But you know, that's why last off season, several months ago, I did an autograph signing with him in Chicago, he could not have been nicer. His son was there. His son, he played football at the University of Illinois. His son could not have been nicer. So, no, I have huge respect for Dick. And, he just rang over everybody. And I guess, he kind of laid it out for me when I got there. I was a safety. He was a linebacker. But I wanted to be just like Dick Butkus. I wanted to run over everybody, force the ball out, force fumbles, all that sort of thing. And that's just what you did in Chicago. You didn't score points. You weren't a high-scoring team. You were just offense, please get off the field so our defense can get on there and beat some people up. That was it. That was about my 8 years in Chicago.
Nice. I remember I wanted to ask you that question last time we had you on. Well, Alex, was there any other questions for
hardest hit ever made?
Oh, you know what? That's probably the last hit I ever had as a Chicago Bear. We were playing Detroit Lions, and the tight end had caught the ball, and we have a linebacker that linebackers trying to get underneath like tight ends and receivers and things like that. We had a kid, Otis Wilson, who was an incredible athlete, fast, strong, and him and I are closing on this tight end, but we're coming from different directions. And at the end of that play, the tight end, he saw both of us coming. He just dropped to the ground. Otis and I smashed into each other. He knocked me out. I knocked him out. When I woke up, I had a broken nose. My nose was bleeding. I didn't realize it, but I just suffered a spinal concussion. What that is, I have no idea, other than I lost feeling in my legs for a couple weeks. And that was the beginning of the end for me. Really, there's a play out there. You don't know what it's going to be. Some guys, like we saw last year, the most innocent looking play can maybe knock somebody out for good, maybe knock them out for their life. And but that was the play right there that ended my career. I compressed my spinal column, hitting a huge linebacker, 240 pounds, coming really fast. And I woke up, I had a broken nose. I had stitches. I had other stitches I had on the side of my face. I couldn't have ended it any other better. This is who I was with the NFL, so I might as well go out bleeding.
Wow. Needless to say, Doug, you went out with a bang.
I was just about to say that.
Sounds like you went out with a bang.
I'm going to use that one. I went out with a bang.
There you go. That's a hard hit.
Yeah. Okay, G Unit. You got one more question?
Yeah, last question.
You got one more question for Doug?
What was your who was your favorite player growing up?
You know what? I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I really didn't have I loved the Steelers, but the Steelers weren't very good back then either. Until they got Terry Bradshaw in a coin toss with the Chicago Bears had first choice, and they picked heads instead of tails, and it was a tail. So that's why Pittsburgh got Terry Bradshaw rather than the Chicago Bears. But no, I loved all those guys.
That's insane.
Even like when I was in college at Ohio State, I loved watching Terry Hanratty and Bradshaw, and they had that steel curtain defense. Oh my gosh, those guys. And I met Mike Wagner, who was the safety on that team. A lot of Super Bowls. They went to 6 Super Bowls. They were a great team to watch, like through the '60s, late '60s and early '70s. And so every day, it didn't matter. Like on Sundays, I don't care. If you were getting married, you were going to cancel it because you were going to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers game. That was the mentality in Pittsburgh. And I think that's what really started my love for the NFL, just watching those guys every single week. And what I loved about them, even when they lost, man, it was 100% effort, 100% of the time. And they were just fun to watch. And they mimicked, what the Pittsburgh Steelers fans were like, just hard-nosed, blue-collar people. That's it. I'm done.
All right, guys. Well, let's. That's awesome. So we're gonna keep going. We got Adam on. We're gonna talk fantasy football and pickleball with Adam. So Doug or Megan, if you guys need to hop on, everybody's more than welcome to stay on. I'm gonna take a quick commercial break and give a shout out to all of our amazing sponsors, which it includes Sports and Shopping, one Megan Johnson Zuccaro and Mr. Doug Plank, along with a bunch of other amazing sponsors. And then we're going to dive into some fantasy football and some pickleball, because pickleball is literally exploding right now.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam is the fantasy football guy, and he is the pickleball guy, as far as I know. So we're going to take a break for about maybe a minute and a half, and then we'll be back. So anybody, if you need to take off, I knew tonight's show would be kind of long, but when it's a good show and we got great guests, I don't care if it's going to be a long show. So we'll be back in just about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, guys.
All right, this is Sports and Tacos. We got freaks out there. We got 4 of them. We got 5 of them. We got special guests. We got a man in the shower. We got a brainiac. We got a guy that looks like he's supposed to be on Sports Center. And then you got me. It's all about the TMP, Sports and Tacos.
Perfect.
All right, ladies and gentlemen in TV land, YouTube, Sports and Tacos, Mondays. All right, ladies and gentlemen in TV land, YouTube, Sports and Tacos, Mondays. Why Sports and Tacos? Because we're number 1. We try to do things a little different from everybody else, and that's who we are, because we party like the big dogs.
Okay, sweet. Who are the guys at Sports and Tacos? We're a bunch of sports experts who work together in a huge sports bar forever. And we know more sports than anybody in this entire world because we put our money where our mouth is.
Because we get paid to put our money where our mouth is. We tell you how it is for real, not what they want you to say. Listen to us, Sports and Tacos.
Cool, perfect.
All right, this is Sports and Tacos. We got freaks out there. We got 4 of them. We got 5 of them. We got special guests. We got a man in the shower. We got a brainiac. We got a guy that looks like he's supposed to be on Sports Center. And then you got me. It's all about the TMP, Sports and Tacos.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna give some shout outs now. I want to give a shout out to Bill Hammond over at Hammond Entertainment. Bill puts on the coolest celebrity golf tournaments like in the whole world, and he's a huge help to Sports and Tacos, helping us get some of our super amazing guests on the show. So I always want to give a shout out to Bill. Hope to have him back on the show soon. Also want to give a shout out to Dan Wolkin over at Memory Lane Incorporated. Dan is a sports memorabilia guru. He owns Memory Lane Incorporated. He's been on over 50 episodes of Pawn Stars. If you ever seen an episode of Pawn Stars where somebody brings in sports memorabilia, he's the guy that they call to appraise and authenticate the sports memorabilia. So he's becoming a regular on the show. He's going to be overseeing a little competition that we're going to be starting soon, which is the Bankers versus Bookies competition to find out if it is better to buy sports memorabilia or gamble. I have a feeling I know what the answer is going to be, but always got to give a shout out to Dan for coming on the show. Give a shout out to Paul Pratt and his super amazing. Paul's a ex-Detroit Lion. He's got a really cool new line of water coming out that has super electrolyte injected, super hydrating NOAA water. So Paul was on the show just a couple weeks ago. He'll be coming on again soon. Anytime, NFL season comes around, that's really when Sports and Tacos gets rolling. Nothing against baseball and basketball, but nothing like NFL. I also want to give a shout out to Ray Pinetto over at Pro Signatures Memorabilia. Pro Signatures Memorabilia has some of the coolest sports memorabilia in the entire world. I should post some pictures from the Pump Brothers event where I got to meet, Mike Tyson, Paul Pierce, Michael Irving, Eric Dickerson. Pro Signatures Memorabilia had over 300 pieces of sports memorabilia set up at the Beverly Hilton Hotel for the Pump Brothers event. Amazing. Ray comes on the show. We'll have Ray on the show again soon. Obviously, want to give a shout out to the amazing Megan Johnson-Zuccaro and Doug Plank with Sports and Shopping. Hey, Megan, do you guys got any idea when the next episode of Sports and Shopping is going to be coming up?
The next Sports and Shopping will start rolling out again in 2 weeks, and we'll start doing it weekly. We took a break over.
Okay, awesome.
Break over the summer. Doug was in Florida quite a bit with his family, and I was with my kiddos, and so
Right.
Doug and I are rolling it out again in 2 weeks. Well, Sports and Shopping will be back on, rocking and rolling. Thank you, though.
Cool.
We appreciate
Cool.
you having.
And
So
I love having you guys on. And now, because Sports and Tacos, because of the support of guys like Doug and you, Megan, and Paul Pratt, and now Greg Vaughn, like we're having Greg Vaughn on a regular basis. And I don't know if you guys know who Greg Vaughn is, but he was a superstar baseball player. This is a guy who 5-time All-Star, hit over 50 home runs in one season. We had Greg Vaughn on yesterday for like an hour and a half. It's just so cool. Sports and Tacos, because of the support of Easy Way Network, Eric Zuley, and just everybody we're starting to get on this thing, it's growing. So
Well, we're honored.
I don't know, I got to thank you.
We're honored to be on, and thank you for having us. Doug and I appreciate it.
Like I said, when me and Tony and Bama were sitting in Tony's living room, and Tony and Bama were drunk one night with a karaoke microphone, and this dream began. We had no idea where it can go and where it has gone. All we had, it was just three dumb guys sitting in the living room after work one night, like talking about, hey, why don't we start a sports podcast? And here we are. So, and last but not least, G Unit will probably be back in a minute. She gives a way better pitch for this, but I want to give a shout out to Dawn Church, and she's our newest sponsor. It's their super amazing Smoke Lab vodka. So, thanks, Dawn. Alex actually works for Dawn. And man, it's amazing vodka. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and we really look forward to this NFL season. Like, we're really trying to take things to the next level. We should actually, Doug, I think we might be having Willie Gault on pretty soon. Did you ever play with Willie, or was that before your time, Doug?
You know what? Willie came actually. I missed him by a year. It's a shame because he's a great human being. He's a great personality. He was an unbelievable talent. Nobody could cover him. I mean, we were always run with Walter Payton. When I was there, he came in the same years, and actually they put everybody by alphabetical order, so he was my roommate for a while, and I loved it because he gave so much effort all the time. He was such an example to everybody on the team. Like hey, whatever you're doing, it's not enough. You need to up your game. Let's get it up to 100%, 100% of the time. And he was one of the reasons why I felt like I played the way I did, because I always felt like I got to be doing something. I got to be tackling someone. I got to hit somebody. And it's fun being around people like that have that kind of a personality, because it is contagious.
Yeah. So yeah, we we should be having Willie Galt on the show soon. But now it is time for fantasy football and pickleball with one Adam Bricker. Adam, take it away, dude. Show is yours for.
Oh, what an honor to be on here.
First, Patty?
Yeah, let's do fantasy football. Let's transition from the NFL into the play NFL. I used to love to have Willie Galt on my team. That was he was so fast. We started a fantasy football league 32 years ago, and it was before the internet. As a matter of fact, in order to go to our draft, you had to show up with 14 self-addressed stamped envelopes, because we were mailing the updates to you. And it's transitioned quite a bit. Wow, that's the name of my team. See that? It's Wow. And so we just won our 7th title in 32 years. It's pretty amazing. But as far as I'm concerned, if anybody's doing any drafting now and needs any insight, we have the information for them. So many different leagues and different rules come out, so specific questions are always welcome. But the one thing I can tell you is when we had our draft party weekend, which we just had, it's camaraderie. It's friendship. I've known these guys for 30 years now. We all watched everybody get married, have kids, get divorced, have more kids. And now the kids are in the league. So it's a lot of fun. Just quick show of hands, everybody on here. Does anybody play fantasy football? Just the one of you.
G Unit.
Oh,
no, Alex.
G Unit in.
Oh, she's got
her little draft pick there. That's so cute.
Look at
She's got the secret weapon.
So when I walk into the draft this year, one of the coolest things is everybody was congratulating me because my daughter just became a doctor. They watched her, when she was born, and every year it's like, yeah, she's in 2nd grade, she's in 8th grade. Wow, time's passing. She's at the University of Florida. Now she's a doctor. So it's really cool with social media to keep up to speed. But fantasy football is just a way to make every game relevant, have fun with it. I don't necessarily like how some of the sportscasters, some of the fantasy sportscasters disregard people, disregard players. They're all people. So I always like to treat them with honor, because if you're out there giving it your all and grinding it out, I want to give every player respect. We just want to draft the people we like a little bit better. As long as we don't have any Raiders on our team, we're okay.
Exactly. That's exactly. Joe only drafts Raiders. I don't remember Joe ever. Well, did you ever make the playoffs in my league, Joe?
I was in your playoffs every year. I was in the championship back-to-back years and lost it both times. And then remember, because I had the first pick. And then the one year I had the first pick, I came in last because I drafted Patrick Mahomes, and it was when he hurt his knee and was out for a few weeks and stuff. Yeah,
that's right. But they went on to win the Super Bowl that year. That's when you were out here, right? That's right. That's when you were out crashing. That's right. You were crashing on my couch that year. That month, the Super Bowl. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. We went and watched it at Rocco's in Studio City, the Super Bowl. Me, you, and Fapes. I remember. That was good times. So, but yeah, like I said, I have like 17 years of fantasy football. I had my own league. We used to do a custom league, Adam, because I don't like traditional scoring. I don't care about PPR. In my fantasy football league, touchdowns win games. You can have lots of players that puts up lots of yards, but if you are not scoring touchdowns, you are not winning as a football team. So in my league, you used to get 6 points for a touchdown, and you would get 1 point for every 50 yards, passing, rushing, and receiving. And the beauty of that was the games were not 127 to 142. it was 27-34. It looked like football scores. I loved it.
The thing is,
17 years. Now I'm just too damn busy.
what I don't like about it, though, it's like you can have a good day, like your player can have a good day without, like, Jalen Hurts can go throw for 400 yards or like 500 yards and, hand the ball off at the 1 yard line 4 times and the running back gets 4 touchdowns from Jalen Hurts and your day's like screwed in that way. You get nothing in return for that.
Yeah.
That's the only issue I had with that. But I mean, it does make it fun. It's fun to like have a couple leagues so you can like play in that one, But like,
So
it's
our
like
original
150 yards and no touchdowns and you don't get a point for it,
Our original league has 2 spin-off leagues. One has all the PPR in it, and the next one spun off about 15 years later by one of the kids of the original players, and he wanted more scoring. So that the scoring on that is ridiculous. There's bonus points everywhere, and getting 200 points in a week is the matrix to follow the points is incredible. So yeah, they're all available to you, all different shapes and sizes. It's just a different way to have fun. And that's the cool thing, Spencer. If you want to run your own league and you want to have touchdowns rule the day, just like the NFL, yeah, our league like that, there's no extra player. There's no extra slot. Your lineup is the lineup of the NFL. And that's it.
Yeah.
You can have 3 running backs and 2 receivers if you want, but you can't have 4 running backs.
Yeah. We had no flex players in the SFL.
And no
We were
kickers.
old school football, old school smash mouth football. You want to win in the SFL, you score touchdowns. Nobody cares about your stupid yardage.
Keep your PPR to yourself, right?
Yeah,
I don't really
exactly.
like the points per
Yeah.
You get that ball in the end zone. So,
Well, we
anyways,
certainly.
Hey, what
we-
else?
yeah.
Go ahead, Adam. Yeah, what?
Yeah, I mean,
you
I'll
have-
just wrap up the fantasy football segment. It's not that's not
Sure.
the big thing in here. You guys are great with the NFL, and I really like it each year when we're playing fantasy football and the new stars emerge, the new trends emerge, and we can see them happening. And Doug called it out earlier when I'll use last year's Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith lit it up. It was great. He was wonderful out there. Made that whole Russell Wilson trade look like a brilliant move for them. But then all the NFL defenses started to catch on. So in fantasy football, when you see that trend, you see them catching on, that's when you trade Geno Smith. Because at the end of the year, he wasn't as good as the beginning of the year. So if you stay up on that, a lot of people go, well, fantasy football is for guys who wish they could play football. Well, I just wish I could own an NFL team. So that's my fantasy, and that's how I play the game.
I love it.
That's
That's
funny.
good.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into pickleball now, because everybody loves fantasy football. Adam, we'd love to have you back on, and give advice for fantasy, because besides just regular NFL talk, like things get pretty heated on Sports and Tacos via fantasy football. And Goddess James, just so you know, I think J Champ is going to take our team unless we want the team. What is your thoughts, Goddess James, live on air? Remember we talked about this like a week ago. I don't have time to manage it.
I mean, I've never played fantasy
Because
football.
Joe's never going to pay
I'll team
his
up with
fees.
Goddess Jane. You wanna team
So
up?
you might as well not.
I might need the help of Adam
Oh.
and his good advice. and
Yeah,
tips.
let's play. Dial me in. I mean, we're going way back over here, but we ran the first ever fantasy football television show.
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah,
way.
I mean, we had the first show ever on television. NFL wouldn't touch it. NBC, CBS wouldn't touch it, but Hooters did. Hooters was our main sponsor. Bud Light was our sponsor.
Yes.
We had the time of our lives. In the middle of the second season, the U.S. government came out and said fantasy football is a game of skill, not a game of chance. So it's not gambling. And so that right then we had CBS, NBC, everybody came in. Bud Light calls us up. My partner, Carl Foster, the Foss is amazing. He's big in pickleball now, probably the reason I'm in it. and they said, your shows, we're going to buy your show from you. So they bought our show. They bought all the rights to our show. They told us to name our price. I'll keep that private here. But yeah, that was just a absolute hoot to be with Hooters.
That's badass.
That's really cool.
It was
That's
so
really
cool.
Congratulations.
So, Adam, did you have to like sign any kind of like no competes? Could you start another fantasy football show if you wanted, or no?
Yeah, we absolutely could have, but that was the moment that all the major networks were taking over, and it was a cool part for me in my life to run my business. I'm a marketing strategist. I'm a connector, and I made so many good connections in there. It was a good time for me to break free, and Carl went into tennis, and I went into business, and it was a really good time to split. But before we left, we got one bonus. We actually launched the 2007 Hooters calendar, the Hooters Bikini Calendar. We did the international release, and it was too big to do in any of their restaurants. We did it at a Panthers game in the NFL stadium because we had 12,000 people participate.
Oh
my
moly!
Yeah. So that's why my team is called Wow.
Hey, Adam,
Every
the TV show was it? Were you guys in Florida when you were filming it?
We filmed it in Florida. We filmed it in a variety of the Hooters locations. We actually had a tour going around with it. Comcast Sports was our broadcaster. Our first 3 episodes were on Comcast Sports Southeast, running once a week. After the first 3 episodes, it went national on Comcast, and they started broadcasting it twice a week. So we were broadcast on Thursday night. There weren't any Thursday night football games back then. And then they broadcast us on Sunday morning so we could help people set their lineups.
Wow,
Nice.
That's freaking awesome. Cool.
It was so cool.
Dive into pickleball. Oh, sorry, Megan, go ahead.
I wanted to say real quick, I got to run because I got to get ready for shoots tomorrow. But I just wanted to tell you guys how much I enjoy being with you, and I thank you so much for having Doug and I.
Thanks for coming on, Megan.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, congratulations on the baby.
Megan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always good to have another woman on the show with us. So thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Guys, soon, and Doug and I'll see you real soon.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, football season's right around the corner. Definitely have you guys back on soon.
All right.
Yes.
What a pleasure to meet you guys.
See you.
Really?
So, Adam, dive into pickleball, man. It's literally the hottest thing like in the whole world.
The hottest thing in the whole world, not just the sport, but the business of it. And if you saw any of the headlines this week, the 2 major leagues, Spencer talked about this earlier today with the NFL and the AFL, Major League Pickleball and the Pickleball Association of America. They're battling out for the top players. So it's a really interesting time. All the companies that make the paddles and everything else. I put ProLite on here because they're my sponsor. All these guys are battling it out to be the major players in the league, and it's just a really interesting time of growth. There's a tournament coming up now in Atlantic City. It's the U.S. Indoor Pickleball Championship, and all the top players are showing up, but they don't like playing indoor. They prefer to play outdoor. So a company named Ultra has made outdoor pickleball courts in a roll that they roll them out inside the convention center. So you're playing on an outdoor texture indoors. So it's just been an incredible evolution of things. If you look at the helmets that they used in Doug's era, and then the helmets they're using today, you can see the high tech immediately. And so that's what's going on really fast in pickleball.
Wow.
Pickleball. Has anybody on the show right now ever played pickleball? You ever played pickleball, Goddess James?
I've watched it.
I played it.
It's so fun. Joe, have you ever played pickleball?
No, I played a decent amount. I enjoy it. I feel like I interrupted.
We
No,
could
you're
play.
fine. I don't care.
I'm down. No, I enjoy playing it. It's fun. It's fun. My mom plays a lot, so I sometimes go with her. But yeah, no, it's fun.
Yeah, well, weren't you a tennis stud?
Yeah, I was a tennis
Jay
player.
Champ?
So I got
Didn't
the
you
hang
go
of
to
it.
Kansas?
This
Didn't,
too.
What's up?
didn't you go to Jay Champ? Didn't you go like play tennis at Kansas or something?
Well, I was
for,
going
like,
to get into Kansas
for a
State.
couple
I got in a
weeks.
little bit of trouble, and so that's
Right, I
that's,
remember.
that's kind of
You
what
went and played in
happened.
Kansas?
At Kansas State.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Up at Manhattan.
Yeah, good old Manhattan.
No, you're good. Good old Manhattan. Yeah. So I play a little tennis, and I play pickleball. Pickleball's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
We have,
Pickle-
You don't got to move as much, which is nice, you know?
oh, it gives me the illusion I'm an athlete.
Oh no, it's not. I'm not saying it like it's not an athletic. It's an athletic sport, but I like because you know it's like about the angles and stuff like that. It's fun.
It's where you smack it in the net, right? You're all around the net.
Kitchen.
You want to
Yes.
smack it over the net.
Yeah.
It's like
Over
it's
the
like
net.
it's
like-
like ping pong on a tennis court, kind of.
Okay. Okay.
big ping pong mini tennis.
Yeah.
Mini volleyball in the scoring aspect.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Okay.
it scores like
Very-
volleyball, plays like ping pong.
Okay.
One of the things we did to bring everybody together, because it's really all over the place. There's not a lot of unity. Like NFL, we talk about it. We know who those players are. We can all get in and talk about who's going to win each division. But one of the things we did is we created something called pickleball cards.
Nice.
So it's like baseball cards, just really cooler. And so we make cards for people so their sponsors can go on. They have a digital footprint. And it's really a way to keep everybody abreast to what's happening because the developments are so fast.
Mhm.
The National Pickleball League is a league for, they call champion pros. So they're all over 50. Okay. I don't know who's over 50 on this call or who's not, but it's really interesting because there's no other sport that really you can thrive in that era. So these guys are touring the country in a place called Chicken and Pickle. Have you heard of this yet?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Chicken and Pickle's got 7, 8, 9 locations. They're going to have about 24 locations by the end of the year. By the way, Spencer, if you're going to do more pickleball, call Chicken and Pickle. Great sponsorship opportunity. It's a fantastic restaurant, cool bar area, and then in the outside area, you can play pickleball, cornhole. They have the real giant-sized battleship game, but they got big major barn in the back with 7 to 12 pickleball courts, depending on what location you have. And
Is
so
this
you
like
play-
is this like a really cool bar or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Adam, where are you? Sorry, where are you located at? Like, where are you playing your pickleball at?
So those are two different questions in my world
Okay.
because I've been in 11 states in the last 2 months.
Oh shit! All right. Shoot.
I'm like on tour. I just recently played pickleball in Kansas City in Chicken and Pickle there, and then we played in Iowa. Iowa has a place called Smash Park. Smash Park's the coolest place I've been to. It's got the world's largest pickleball paddle there. And then today I played in Boca Raton, Florida, and just I'm all over the place. And I travel with my I want to shout out to Pro Light and PB 1965. They make it possible for me to go and bring the game to schools, to senior citizen centers, to parks. And the big announcement I'd like to share is this company right here, PB 1965. They're hosting the event in Atlantic City, and they're having the Special Olympics. So the Special Olympics, not only a competition with them, but a pro-am where each of the Special Olympians gets to play with one of the top players in pickleball.
Oh, sweet.
So
That's
really
pretty cool.
just cool way to interact and get to touch everybody in their scenario. It's the opposite of the NFL. The NFL, you go to a game, there's 100 people playing, and there's 100,000 watching. You go to pickleball tournament, and you got 1,000 players and 500 people watching. So it's the opposite. It's
Right.
growing as a participant sport more than a spectator sport. But we have Inside World Pickleball. We just had 70,000 viewers watch Championship Sunday. So it's growing as a spectator sport, but as a participant sport, much faster.
Wow. Yeah. I was telling Adam about recently I had an audition from my agent because I'm also an actor, and it asked if I had any pickleball experience, and I didn't. So, but it was a big audition, and it actually paid good. It was like some commercial where you needed to have footage of yourself playing pickleball, and it was due by like 10 a.m. that morning, and I procrastinated. I was like, oh God, I because I had confirmed the audition. And when you have an agent and you confirm the audition, you better get that audition turned in. So I got up early one morning. I drove over to Encino, Joe, kind of by the old crib where you were crashing on the couch back in the day. And I found a park. And I was just going to take like some video of myself just like hitting a pickleball over the net. And of course, there was a lady there with a whole bunch of retirees. I'm talking like 80 years old, 85 years old. This one lady was probably 90 years old, and she was giving pickleball lessons to all these retirees. And I went up and I asked her, I was like, hey, I know this sounds weird, but I have to get some video of myself like playing pickleball. I had like the most fun for like 3 hours that morning playing pickleball with a bunch of retirees who took like footage of me so I could get my audition turned in for my agent. And pickleball is like, after that, I was like, wow, this game is fun. Because on Venice Beach, there's tons of people on Venice Beach playing pickleball all the time. And it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. So if anybody hasn't played it before, go try it out. You'll be hooked.
It is. It's the fastest hooking. It's the fastest hooking sport around. There's tons of videos of people playing it the first time, and now they think they're going to be champions. There's tons of ex-athletes who are playing pickleball. And I'll just give you a quick description of how it worked this morning when I showed up. I went to the courts in Florida, and it's called open play. And anybody can just walk up and play, and they have a big rack where you stick your paddle in the rack. And there's 4 people per game. So the first 4 people go to the one court. The next 4 people go to another court. So I stuck my paddle in. The people there don't know me. They all know each other, though, and there's 3. And they're like, we're walking on the court. Nobody knows how good each other is. It's one of the coolest moments is that you're getting on the court and they have no idea. So the people getting on today thought they were pretty good, and they were. But they're like, I don't know how good this guy is. How do you want to split things up? So the guy who thought he was the best guy on the court says, I'll take him just in case. So that's really cool. Now there's not high expectations for me. And I played better than all those guys, which was really surprising to them. But it's just so much fun. The next game I ended up playing with beginners. They hardly knew how to play. So you adjust your game. You make it fun for them. Your pickleball game lasts about 12, 15 minutes. And then I go from them, and I'm like, I'm not going to play with you again. I played with you once, but let me go play with some better players. So you keep rotating around, but you can't get better unless you play with people who are better than you.
Right.
Yeah, when I got, because the lady that was giving lessons, like she was showing me how to hold it at a certain angle, how you want to hit it. And the thing that's kind of crazy to me, Adam, is you are starting to now see pickleball become a rival to golf in regards to like executive type meetings. Executives nowadays, you know, they would always go to the golf course. You are starting to hear of executive meetings happening on pickleball courts now. It's becoming that popular.
Really?
So, you know, big, high level meetings are starting to happen now on pickleball courts.
That seems kind of interesting. It's like on a golf course, you have like time to chat and stuff. I feel like on pickleball, I guess in a sense you get all that. You get time like resting in between games because, like Adam said, you're like rotating. So
the games are quick, and you know, and maybe it's kind of an LA thing, you know, like whatever avocado ice cream. LA. It's like, you know, whatever, just like kind of an LA thing.
What's everyone doing?
Pickleball. Yes, exactly.
What's happening in Kansas City?
What's viral? What's trending? Pickleball's trending. That's what's trending.
It's trending. It's definitely trending. So for the industry of broadcasting, so I'm a featured broadcaster on Inside World Sports Pickleball. and so you can see me on there.
Mhm.
It's trending like crazy. It's got the biggest growth numbers out of any sport in America. Not in the world yet, because there's something called padel growing in Europe, which is a different kind of paddle sport, but it's rivaling tennis in sales. It blows away every other sport in real estate dollars, $6.8 billion in real estate in 2022. And they've already passed that number in 23. I know it's crazy. It's being added to golf courses, tennis courses are getting converted. And yeah, so I mean, if you're interested in the investment in sports, you can do sports gambling versus memorabilia, but pickleball real estate investment might be a good one as well.
Can you
It
gamble on
might be a
pickleball?
good one. Cool.
Can you gamble on pickleball?
Well, I don't know if there's odds in Las Vegas, but after they settle,
You know who would know? Sorry, you know who would know? Tony and Bama. I
That's
guarantee if there is pickleball gambling happening at 3 a.m. in like Russia,
It's gotta be
Tony and
happening
Bama
somewhere.
would know about it. So,
So I want to get
All
on
right,
the court and play with Goddess James. Are you a good player?
yeah, hey, that's what we were just thinking. I was gonna say what I think would be fun is to go do live sports and tacos from a pickleball court. We'll go down to Venice Beach and go play some pickleball down at Venice. And I think it would be really cool to be handicapped that the pickleball players on sports and tacos would need to be playing pickleball while eating a taco.
Well, I wouldn't be
Dun
here for that.
dun dun.
I'm down.
I could do that.
Hard shell or soft shell?
Hard
Soft
shell.
shell.
Doesn't matter. You have to be eating a taco. the
I'm
whole
in.
time.
I'm sore.
I'm in.
so-
Get a flight down to Venice Beach here, huh?
Dude, it's blowing up down there. Those tennis
Venice Beach
courts down
is
there
so
are being,
fun.
And Venice is
is
fun.
being converted in because you always had the handball courts or whatever. They're being converted to pickleball because pickleball is taking over Venice Beach.
It was really fun. When I first played it, it was in Boca, Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where I am.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'm here right now.
It was at a country club in Boca, and it was with my boyfriend's aunts and mom and stuff. So they all taught me how to play and like the scoring, and they brought in. We found like a court, and so we spent maybe like 3 or 4 hours. Just like first of all, it took me forever to understand the scoring. Like I would get it screwed up so many times, but then as you play, like it does feel a lot like just a sort of extra large ping pong paddle, and just like a third or a quarter of the size of a tennis court. So it's like you're all just right there, and it's so easy to pick up the ball, and the ball's so big, and so everything's so easy to use. It feels like so you just get lost playing for hours. That's what it was like for me.
It's a blast. It's a blast.
It is
Cool, guys.
so easy. They invented it in Seattle, Washington in 1965.
Really?
And it was yeah. And it was three dads, JBB, three dads with ping pong paddles, a wiffle ball on a driveway.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like it would origin from. Some
That's-
kind of suburban.
That's why the scoring's so messed up. That's why the name's messed up. And that's why you can't get close to the net. You got to stay back. That gave the kids the ability to compete with the parents. That's why it's not a brutal game like tennis.
That makes sense. And I would hit that wiffle ball
Right.
so hard by accident at first. Like took me forever to not just whip it right out of the park. Because it just flies through the air.
Yeah, it's all about
Yeah, it's like real control. You have to learn control.
it's sweet. Yeah, it's fun. Well, cool guys. We are we're at around like 2 hours. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap this super amazing edition of Sports and Tacos up. Great show.
Let's give
We went
a
over NFL.
shout out.
Doug, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you. No,
Go ahead.
yeah, you having me on. It's great
Shout it out,
getting
Adam.
to meet each one of you.
It was really nice to meet you, Doug.
We'll have you back on again soon, Doug. I love your wisdom and your knowledge of NFL. It's right around the corner. Like literally, we are like 10 days away from Lions versus Chiefs in what could be the highest scoring game of the season. My prediction right now, Chiefs 55, Lions 51.
First game of the
Wow.
year,
Look at that.
I'm taking the Lions, dude.
You're taking the Lions?
Lions
You're taking the
31.
Lions?
Lions 31-27. Dan Campbell and the boys
It's
are
going to
going
be
to
way
be
more high scoring than that.
It's going to be a fun game, and I think
No,
it's
it
going to
is.
be
Offense got to get. Offense are usually a little stale at the beginning of the year. I feel like
Not
it's usually
those
low
offenses.
scoring. Maybe not. Maybe
Not
not. But I'm going
those
to say 31-27 Lions.
All I know is take the over. I bet the over-under is like 57. Take the over all day in that game. So, anyways, thanks everybody for coming on. We will be back next week. Football's coming. Sports and Tacos is heating up. We're having big, stars on, celebrities every week. And I appreciate everybody that comes on and helps us. So, thanks, guys.
Adam,
Hope
Doug,
everybody
thank
has
you
a
guys so much for coming on.
Thank
You're welcome,
you
guys. Thanks for inviting
Yo,
me in.
Shout out
Shout out to Eric
Stallion.
Zuley for setting it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Stallion,
Eric.
thanks for
who's-
getting.
Nice.
Yes, yeah. Stallion, thanks for finally, at long last, getting your stupid Monday nights off.
I've got my Monday nights good. I'll come on. I'll be back. I'm on.
It
Good.
only took like 5 months. So
Well,
Sports
it's
and
not like,
Tacos
it's not like
X.
there was a ton of sports going on, Spencer. Like, what you guys talk about? Come on.
I know.
What's been
But
going
I
on?
needed you for NFL because now Tony and Bama will be back.
Okay.
And
and
next week, next Monday night, things are going to get crazy. Goddess James, Goddess James,
blowing
next
this
week,
whistle.
will,
I'm sick and
she
tired.
will
Know.
be blowing that whistle like
Tony!
crazy next Monday night. There will be people going to the penalty box often.
Oh yeah.
Won't be me and you.
All right,
man.
Adam, thanks for coming on. Doug, well, wait till
Matter.
Tony and Bam are here. It's not. So, all right, guys, everybody have a good night. I'll talk to you
Have a good
soon.
night,
Thanks,
guys.
Goddess James. Thanks to you.
Night, Goddess
Thanks,
James.
Joe. Thanks,
Night,
Adam.
guys.
We'll talk to everybody soon.
Bye.
Okay, see you
Bye,
guys.
ladies.
Bye.
Bye.